What's good, y'all? Wanted to make a video for y'all real quick before I finish out my night. I wanted to speak to everybody about allowing people to do what they do, right? I understand we tend to get in our feelings about how a person treats us. We tend to get in our feelings about a way a person moves. It's like, if I love you, then you should love me. If I care about you, then you should care about me. If I'm committed to you, then you should be just as committed to me, and vice versa. But the reality of it is that that's not how it works. Logically, it makes sense. I understand. But the reality of it is, people are going to be who the fuck they are. People are going to do what they feel like they need to do. We have to get to a point where we need to understand that everybody, we don't think the same. We don't feel the same when it comes to certain topics. We don't even see life the same way. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just the way it is. And even though it makes sense logically, I feel like because the lack of understanding in it, the lack of understanding of people in general, the lack of understanding of the mind, the psyche of a person, is what makes us get into these moods and allows us to get into our feelings about how people move. And I get it. Because it was one of the biggest lessons that I had to learn as well. But once I understood that people are going to be who they are, and they going to move how they move, and 9 times out of 10 they don't see no fault in what they do, then you learn to find the peace in that. And the peace in all of that is learning that you don't have to deal with that. We all have the freedom of choice and free will, even when you're in a relationship. I think that's why a lot of times relationships seem to crumble at times, because people, you put a title on something, you put a title on that shit, but then you fail to realize that a person still has a right to their freedom. But you also have a right to your choice. Like, depending on what they choose and their freedom depends on whether or not you will stick around, type shit. You know what I mean? So I feel like a lot of times we tend to try to put titles in general, put pressure on people, unnecessary pressure. Because a lot of times we think that if we put a title on something, it's supposed to help lock something down, when it doesn't. People gonna do what they want to do, regardless. But when you learn to find the peace in knowing that people are going to do what they want to do, you no longer worry and stress and wreck your brain. And a lot of times we spend too much time and effort on trying to persuade people and show them that how they moving isn't the best way, and the way they're looking at things, their perspective, they should look at it a different way. And all of those things might be true. You know what I'm saying? But everybody has their own process that they have to go through in life. You know what I'm saying? That's the reason for our experiences. The shit that we deal with, the shit that we dealt with, the shit that we going through currently is to help us grow. It's supposed to wake us up. And some people have woken up and do wake up because of the experiences, but then you have some people that just would rather keep bumping their head, operating insanity, doing the same shit over and over again, expecting different results. And at the end of the day, they're failing to realize that they have to do something different. You have to look at shit different. You have to move a different way than what you've been moving. Because your way of thinking, the way you see things, you've been doing that shit for a while and it's not producing any results. And I get it, because a lot of times, even though we notice that how we're moving and the way we're thinking and the way we're seeing things isn't producing any results, it's a comfort in it. It's an unhealthy comfort, because it produces, with that type of comfort, it's because of fear. fear of the unknown. Because no matter how many times you're noticing that you're not producing anything, it's still a comfort in knowing, because you know how to move. You know how to maneuver. But when it comes to you moving different and looking at a different perspective, it's like you have to relearn a whole lot of shit to get something. And sometimes society will make it seem like that's a bad thing. Starting over is a bad thing. And really it's not. I feel like if you can't embrace starting over, if you can't embrace learning something new, then you're really hindering yourself from growth. You know, you're really hindering yourself from really seeing the beauty in a whole lot of shit, because you're only focused. You have this tunnel vision on this one particular thing, or you have this vision on thinking this one particular way, and you're not understanding how important it is to try to venture away from that. How important it is that sometimes you should try something different. You know what I'm saying? It's for your greater good. Because as long as you allow yourself to stay there because of your comfortability, then you'll look up and you'll look back over your life and live in a whole lot of regret, because you'll be like, I haven't really learned shit. I'm still stuck where I am, where I've been years ago, because you were afraid to take that step. When it comes to dealing with people, you have to allow them to do what the fuck that they do. Allow them to be who they are. Because at the end of the day, when you know, especially when you know that you are valuable, when you know that you bring a lot to the table, now maybe you're the type of person that bring a whole table to the table. That's some bullshit right there. When you can bring a whole fucking table to the table. But when you know your value, it don't even matter. It won't matter. When you really know your value, you'll be able to step away. You know what I'm saying? You in your feelings because of how you feel for that person. It hurts because you looked at them as a friend. It hurts because you really love them. Like you really seen yourself being with them long term and shit like that. Like it hurts because of your emotions. But when you really truly know your value, you're going to feel those emotions. But at the same time, you'll be able to step away. I'm going to step out your way and allow you to do what you feel like is best for you. Right? Because at the end of the day, when it comes to you saying you just caring for a person in general, right? To love a person, that's one thing. But if you say you care for somebody, then you won't stand in their way. You may not always agree with it. You may be salty at how they moving, or not understanding of how they looking at things. But when you really care for somebody, just step out their way. Sometimes you gotta allow people to bump their head. That's how they gonna learn. But I get it, especially when, for instance, you are a healer. The one thing I had to learn with me being a healer, the one thing that I had to learn in my journey is that when you are a healer, you have a pure heart. You have a pure heart, and you can't help but to just try to help. Like, you're going to try to help as many people as you feel like you can. You know what I'm saying? No matter how you feel, when you have a pure heart, you can be tired and you just like, damn, they need some help. You know what I'm saying? And you around, you don't see nobody else around, and then you have these thoughts that go in your head, and you like, damn, like, what if I'm the only person they'll see for a while, and this, that, and the third. So you can't help but to help because of your pure heart. It's just embedded in you to be like that. But the one thing I had to learn through my journey, me being a healer and life coaching and shit like that, is that God and the universe will point you in the direction of who needs the healing from you. I'm going to say that again. When you are a healer, when you have that pure heart, when you're able to put your problems to the side for a moment to help somebody with theirs, to help them, point a different paint a different perspective on life, to be able to see the light in their fucked up situation. You got to understand that specific people are assigned to us. It's not meant for us to try to heal everybody. You ever find yourself trying to heal somebody or trying to help somebody, and and for one, you get shitted on because you're trying to help? They shit on you because you're trying to help them. They're just not getting the information. They're not taking it in, no matter what you say. Shit going in one ear and out the other. It's like talking to a brick wall. Those type of people, those people weren't assigned to you. Because when someone was assigned to you, is assigned to you through God and the universe, because they need some type of healing, and you have that in you, you have what they need in order to help them, it ain't gonna be like that. They're not gonna shit on you. But you took it upon yourself, and it ain't your fault. You know what I'm saying? You just got a pure heart. You just have a pure heart, and you can't help. It's embedded in you. Like, you just feel like you gotta help. But because of that, you ended up bumping your head. Because at the end of the day, you helped somebody who didn't even fucking ask for help. You see what I'm saying? You got some people who really need help, and they listen to every word you say, and they move exactly how you tell them they should move, because they really need the help. They're serious about getting up out their situation. They're serious about looking at life in a different way. You know what I'm saying? They serious about that shit. But then you have some people where you'll try to help them, and they just immediately throw up this wall. Every time you try to help, they blocking you. Every time you try to help, hell, some people, they'll try to sit there and turn against you, or try to make it seem like you the enemy. That's what they call unsolicited advice, or and you, like I said, you moving in a way, you got a good heart, a pure heart. You see they got an issue, but honestly, did they even ask for help? Did they even ask you for any help? See, but when you are a healer, you can honestly see, like, you're an empath, so you can feel shit. You can feel everybody's emotions and shit like that. So you can tell when somebody is bothered. You can tell when somebody is probably going through something, because you can feel that energy. Energy is real. But at the end of the day, did they even ask for help? No. Most times they didn't. Most times they didn't. So although clearly those people may need help, and they may need pointed in the right direction, and they going through shit, those are the kind of people that you honestly have to leave right there where they at. You got to step away from them and let them be who they are. Let them be who they are, and whatever they going through, you got to allow them, you got to lead them there and allow them to go through that shit on their own. It's not for you. Maybe somebody else will come and and it's a sign to help them out, but it wasn't for you to do that. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't for you to do that, because you're trying to pour into this person, and constantly pour, and they're not taking it in. They're not receiving it, which means they're not even open. Like I said, clearly from the outside looking in, they need all the help they can get, but they're not even open. You have to be open to receive. And if you're not willing to receive it, then you're going to be stuck right where you at. That's just life in general. When you get tired enough, you'll get to a point where you're willing to receive. You see what I'm saying? You have to allow people to be who they are. Leave them right where the fuck they at. No matter how much you want to love them, no matter how much you want to be with them, no matter how much you want to be their friend, they, for some reason, you will never know. It's not for you to know. All you need to know is that they're not open to receive what it is that you have to offer. And the more you sit there and try to force that shit, the more you try to pour into somebody, and they're not even taking in what you pouring, all you doing is depleting yourself. You're depleting yourself. To the point where when you actually do run into that person that you should be friends with, when you actually do run into that person that you should be long-term with on a romantic level, you ain't gonna have nothing to give. Because you done gave it away to the wrong people. You gave it away to the wrong people. You have to understand and know your value. And in order to get to that place where you understand and know your value, you had to go through your own trials and tribulations. You had to go through your own shit. It didn't happen overnight. So why would you, knowing you went through all that hell and back, when you had to climb all those mountains and jump over all them hurdles, why would you continuously pour into somebody who's not even receiving your value? They see it. When you're valuable, people see it. But not everybody is open and ready to receive it. And it's not for everybody to receive it. That's why I tell people you have to allow people to earn you. They have to earn your care. They have to earn your love. They have to earn your friendship. You can't just be out here just giving it to any and everybody. I had to learn that too. But when you have a pure heart and when you're genuine as fuck, you can't help but to just, hey, take some of this, take some of this. And you so genuine and pure-hearted that honestly you don't even see that some of the people you trying to get that shit to ain't got no good intentions. You don't see it at first until it's too late. Because that's how much you care. That's how big of a heart you have. And it ain't your fault. Because in order to go through all the shit you've done experienced in life and to still have a good heart, that's rare. Because a lot of people out here turn bitter and cold and heartless. But you still have yours. And it don't mean you gotta be on some fuck the world shit. You don't have to move like that, because then all you're gonna do is block what's meant for you to be in your life. You feel me? You're gonna block it. But you do have to start being more mindful, and you do have to start allowing people, making people earn you. Everything about you. They have to earn that shit. You can't just give it away. And once you peep that they're not acknowledging your value, once you peep that they're not appreciating what you bring to the table, once you peep that they're not reciprocating what you've been giving them, you have to accept that. Allow them to move how they move, and you walk the fuck away. Because the more you stick around, the more you try to give. And when you think about it, if you keep giving and they ain't earn it and they know they didn't earn it, why would they even really put in the effort? It makes sense. If they can get all of this shit from you and they ain't do shit to earn it, or they didn't do anything to deserve it, why should they? You see what I'm saying? It makes sense. So you have to get to a point, and I know it's easier said than done, but work on that. You know what I'm saying? Allow people to do what they do. That's just who they are at the point in their life. Maybe they'll change one day, and maybe they won't. But at the end of the day, that shit ain't for you to worry about. Either they can handle you or they can't. Either they can, see that you're valuable and learn how to embrace it. and learn how to treat you. Like I tell people, you have to, carry yourself as if you were a rose. To me, a rose is so beautiful, it stands out from other flowers. And the one thing a rose has is thorns. And you looking at the rose and you like, oh, that's pretty, that's pretty. But if you go to touch it and you don't handle that rose in a certain way, you're going to prick your fingers. You got this extremely beautiful thing. It's soft and delicate, But if you don't grab it, if you don't hold it, if you don't care for it in a certain way, you're going to prick your fingers. And that shit hurt. That's how valuable the rose is. That's how you should carry yourself. Like, yeah, motherfuckers see your value and they see how beautiful you are and they see that you a catch and they see that you bring a whole table to the table and, they see you are all that and then some. But you got to have them thorns. And a lot of y'all out there move like that, but y'all have no thorns. Anybody can just have access to you, and it shouldn't be like that. Most times, people tend to cherish things that they have to work for. Right? You're going to cherish something more if you had to work for it rather than something that you had easy access to. Because when you work for something, you actually gain, and you look back and you think about all the blood, sweat, and tears you had to go through to get it, you're going to cherish it a little bit more than you would something that was just like given to you for free. You see what I'm saying? So handle yourself as if you were a rose. Be beautiful, be bold, stand out. But have those thorns. Because when people see those thorns, they'll be like, motherfuckers all in your face and they see the thorns, they like, shit. I can't just, Those thorns is going to instantly embed in their minds like, I can't just pick this up. I got to figure out how to handle this shit in the way it needs to be handled, because if I don't, it's going to prick me. You got to be like that. Don't be like the other flowers that you can just easily pick up. With the rose, you got to handle it like in delicacy. You have to be mindful of how you touch it. You got to be mindful, because if you move the wrong way, you're going to get pricked. Y'all got to have that mindset. I had to realize that for myself. Because there was a point in my life where I was just, hey, you want to love me? Like, to head ass. That corny ass shit. But it's okay. Because like I said, we all done it. We all dealt with it. And if you're going through it now, it's fine. It's okay. But I'm trying to tell you, put a little bug in your ear. Carry yourself as if you was a rose. People see your value. They see everything you have to offer. They see everything you bring to the table. But they also see your thorns. And when they see those thorns, they're going to automatically freeze up and tense up. Like, whoa, because they know I have to handle this in a specific way. I can't just come at it any kind of way. You feel me? But I hope y'all have a good night.